Hi everyone, Allie here from TheFamilyMeeple, and welcome back to the final installment of my 2022 board game Advent Countdown. In this countdown, I have been looking at the 24 top new to me games that I played in 2022. Games on this list just had to be something new that I had not played before 2022. Doesn't have to be games that were published in 2022. In fact, most of them were not. If you are just joining us, I highly encourage you to go back down to the link in the description and start at number 24. These videos take maybe 3 or 4 minutes a piece, and you can check it out starting from the beginning. Otherwise, we have officially made it to Christmas Eve and the number one pick for my games in 2022. Coming in at number 1 is a game that I would not have anticipated to be number 1 on this list, or actually even probably on this list if you'd asked me at the beginning of the year. This is a game that when I first heard about it and saw it, I went, wow, that is definitely overproduced and way too expensive for me to think about adding to my collection. Number 1 is Rococo Deluxe Edition, published by Eagle Gryphon Games. This game was designed by Matthias Kramer, Stefan Maltz, and Luis Maltz, and the artwork is by Ian O'Toole. So why did I think this would not make it to my collection? Number 1 is the price point, to be perfectly honest. Rococo was published quite a few years ago in just a regular kind of, standard box size edition, which is now out of print. That out of print edition was redone as a deluxe edition by Eagle Gryphon Games, and it is absolutely stunning. It is gorgeous on the table, and there's no doubt that you get what you pay for in this game. But it's also a luxury item. It's not something that everyone is going to be able to pick up and own. So it is one that I actually put on my birthday wish list, and it's the only thing I asked for from my family for my birthday. I actually pointed it out to my oldest daughter, Rory, who loves games as well, and told her, this is what I want. Tell your dad it's available from the Game Steward. So they picked it up for me for my birthday, which was in June. But one of the things that I did this year was set myself some pretty ambitious 10x5 solo challenges where I worked to play 10 solo games from my collection 5 times over a period of 4 months. So I did a total of 3 of these challenges in 2022, the last of which I am currently working on right now with, I'm pretty optimistic that I will finish it before the end of the year. But because I had already created the first 2 solo challenges, Rococo didn't make it onto the list until the 3rd challenge, which ran from September through December. So I had this beautiful game sitting in my house starting in June and didn't touch it until September as I was working through these other solo challenges and, life and just all of the games that come up that we end up playing. Rococo is a game that is designed, like I said, by Matthias Kramer. Matthias Kramer is the designer of my number 1 all-time favorite game, which is Glenmore 2. So when I found out that Rococo was designed by Matthias Kramer, that is the actual thing that put it above the line, and I said, this might actually be worth the money for the deluxe edition, and I should put it on my wish list. And it did not disappoint. So at least as far as these midway Euro games with kind of quirky themes, Matthias Kramer is 2 for 2 in my book. He had a winner with Glenmore 2, and he has a winner with Rococo Deluxe Edition for sure. So in Rococo, you are dressmakers who are designing ladies' evening gowns and men's frock coats for a fancy ball being held in honor of Louis XV. And this is not a theme that I would have normally said was extremely enticing to me. I do enjoy sewing, but I've never been someone who's overly involved in high fashion. So it wasn't something that I looked at and was thinking, that's definitely the game for me based on the theme. And it looked like it was going to be a much more complex game. Eagle Gryphon is certainly known for their big box deluxe edition games from Vital Lacerda. And this Rococo Deluxe edition is the same size box. It looks like it's part of the same series. And you might assume that it's also either from Vital Lacerda or that it's along that same complexity level, but it's definitely not. I was surprised at the simplicity of the game once I watched a playthrough and then read the rules myself after getting the game. So what you are doing, it is a deck building game, sort of. It has deck building, it has resource management, it has area control, area majority, which I'm not normally a huge fan of, but it's passive enough in this game that you can't kick people out. There's no aggressive like fighting. It's just area majority, not so much area control. And then again, it comes into this like efficiency puzzle for me of you only have a certain number of turns and a certain number of rounds before the game ends. And so you have to do the most with it that you can. So in Rococo, what you're going to do is you are going to select from your hand of available cards, your deck of available cards, 3 cards. And you can take any 3 cards in the stack of available cards. And these cards are going to represent different employees that work for you. There are master cards, which are gold. There are silver cards and then bronze cards as well. And I don't remember what those 2 are called, but you have gold, silver, and bronze cards. And each of these employees can do different actions for you out on the board. So the first step is to pick the 3 cards that you're going to use. And the cards that you pick are going to be dictated based on the color of the worker that you think you are going to need, and then also bonus actions that are on the bottom half of those cards. Then, once you get into the second phase, you're going to use these workers, these cards, to go out and complete different actions. And there's, I think, 6 or 7 different actions that you can take. It's not a huge number, and they're all shown on your player board so you can see what you can do. And depending on the worker, they can do different actions. So for example, if you want to hire new workers to gain and add cards into your deck, you have to use one of your gold master cards. You can't hire with the silver or the bronze cards. But you can do other actions with the silver and the bronze cards. So some of the things that you're going to do, you're going to hire more workers. You're going to collect materials, being bolts of fabric or lace or thread are your resources in the game. You will be tailoring dresses, and you can tailor dresses with either your gold or silver workers. And some of the dresses or frocks you have to have a gold worker for. They'll be marked that you have to have a gold worker. And a lot of these actions that you're taking will cost money. So there's an income phase as well as you're going through the game, and you'll be spending money. And most of the spaces, the first one that you buy, if the display is full, you're the first person to take this action during the round, you will be paying a premium. So you can go and hire an employee and you can get exactly the one you want from the display, but it's going to cost you 5. After you've bought one, the person who comes after you, if there's only 3 left, now it only costs 3. And then the second one maybe only costs 1. And then that last one, if nobody took it, it's free. You can just take it. So there's a little bit of push your luck there, particularly if you were playing with other players. I should mention I've only played this solo. Of how long can you wait? Are they going to take the one that you want, or can you hold out and hope that the price goes down? The same thing applies when you're purchasing materials in the other action space. So if the drawer is full, then you're going to be paying the most. If one has already been taken out, then you'll pay less. And if there's only one left and you want it, it's free. As you are playing out, one of the things that you want to consider is that if you are hiring new employees, that card that you hire goes into your hand for the current round. So as you hire employees, not only are you building your deck and potentially getting better cards into your hand for future rounds, you're increasing the number of actions that you get in the current round as well. So I start out with 3 cards, but if I hire an employee, now I just got a 4th one, it builds my deck, and I still get to take 3 actions outside of that hiring action. Some other things that you can do is fund decorations. So you can fund musicians in the different halls, which will just earn points at the end of the game, but will also help contribute to majorities in each of the different halls. You can purchase or fund statue decorations, which will get you some end game scoring. You can fund decorations in, I think it's the kitchen, which will gain you additional income depending on either how many decorations you've funded or how many dresses or frocks that you've rented out into the ball. And then as you're designing these dresses and tailoring them, you can either sell them for income and you just get money for those, or you can rent them out to people who are going to the ball. And if you rent it out, then you get to place your newly tailored dress out into one of the halls that is on the main board. And depending on where you place it, you can potentially get bonuses as you place those, and you'll mark it with your tailor's icon. So we know that it's your dress that you tailor, that you rented that out. And at the end of the game, you're going to score points based on who has the most dresses in each of the 5 different halls that are on the board. And some of the halls are worth more than others, so you might want to focus on some over other ones. And the center hall, if you have dresses in there, one of the decorations you can fund is fireworks up at the top. And so before you do your scoring, if you've funded any of the fireworks, you can actually move the people in the dresses or the frocks that you had rented out up into the spaces that you have marked for your fireworks, and the fireworks become a multiplier. So you will be able to score points for that dress plus the multiplier. So if the dress is worth 3 points and you funded the most expensive firework, it'll actually be 3 times 3 for the firework, making it 9 points instead of 3 points if it had just been in the hall. There's also a bonus that you can get for being the first player to have representation in all 5 of the halls. And then I think that's most of it. So there's different scoring objective cards that you can get kind of as you get into the later phases that will give you benefits based on like how many employees you have, how much leftover lace and thread you have. There's all kinds of different scoring things that you can do. The solo mode for Rococo Deluxe Edition is an AI deck run solo mode, which is one of my absolute favorites. It's very simple to run. You essentially will be selecting cards from the top of the deck for her active hand, and she will always get 4 cards on a round. And then you'll just flip over the top card. It will tell you which action to take. Usually she will be tailoring dresses or taking materials out of the drawers. She will be hiring employees. If she hires an employee, it goes into her deck for potential endgame scoring, and then she gets another card from her AI deck, so she gets another turn as well as she hires employees. She'll be funding decorations, fireworks, musicians. She'll be tailoring dresses, putting them out into the different halls. And so she doesn't pay for anything. She doesn't have to have resources for anything. She just takes them. So there's a little bit of push your luck, but it's a very competitive AI. So the games are challenging. It does make you think. It does make you really plan out strategically how you're going to approach it and how you're going to get the biggest benefit possible. Which halls do you just abandon because she just keeps going there and she's represented there more than you are and you can't get ahead of her, versus when do you focus on particular halls where you can get the most benefit out of being in there. So that is a very high level overview of Rococo, but I have just had so much fun playing this one. Like I said, it's part of my current solo challenge, and I have played 4 out of the 5 games so far. The deluxe edition also includes a whole bunch of promo content with special dresses and all kinds of things. And it includes an expansion called the Jewelry Box expansion, which I have not played yet. I'm planning on adding that in on my final play of the solo challenge. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through my favorite games that I played for the first time. I hope that you've liked my selections. I don't know if any of you have been following along, if you're surprised by what made it to number one. If you're not surprised, since you know how much I love Glenmore 2, that Matthias Kramer's Rococo would also make it this high onto the list. What were you surprised that didn't make the list now that we've made it all the way to the end? Was there a game that you thought for sure was going to be on the list based on following me on Instagram or listening to my talks about the Dice Tower Retreat and what I played and what I liked? I know there's some spoilers in there that people thought that Galilean Moons would probably be on this list. It came in at 25, so just fell off the list, but it's also a fantastic game. But yeah, we'd love to hear your comments on the list below. What was your favorite game that you played for the first time in 2022? What was a game that surprised you? What was a game that was from a designer that you didn't realize they made that game? Do you have a favorite designer that you just recently realized they made this other game and you've discovered it and realized you love that one too? I hope that everyone has had a wonderful time following along on this series. I've had a lot of fun making it for you, and I hope you enjoyed it and got some value out of the conversation and the games that I've picked. It is officially Christmas Eve today, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful and blessed Christmas tomorrow. If you celebrate this holiday, please take time with your families, take time away from the TV, get some games to the table, relax, enjoy the holiday spirit, and come back and tell us what you played over the holidays and maybe what came in your stockings or under your tree. Again, thanks so much for following along. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'll definitely be sharing my games next year as well, what I got over the holidays, and what's coming up on my new to play in 2023 list. Thanks everyone. Bye.